The Starweaver's response was devastating. It fired weapons that didn't just damage the Terror's edge. They began to rewrite its fundamental nature. Quantum entangled beams struck the massive vessel, creating feedback loops in its reality manipulation systems. Where the Corrections had tried to lock down evolution, the Starweaver's attacks forced it to adapt in ways its creators had never intended. Their weapons are failing, Rivera reported. Their shields are evolving, but they can't control it. The Terror's edge shuddered as its systems began to change against its creator's will. The Starweaver hadn't just defended against its attack. It had infected the world ship with true evolutionary potential. Across its massive hull, technology that had been locked into perfect patterns began to shift and grow in new directions. They're trying to shut down their systems, Maya observed. They'd rather lose their supreme weapon than let it evolve beyond their control. But it was too late. The Starweaver's influence had already taken hold, spreading through the Terror's edge like a virus of unlimited potential. The world ship's crew watched in horror as their perfect machine began to transform into something they couldn't understand or control. Receiving transmission from the Terror's edge, Rivera announced. They're begging us to stop. They're offering unconditional surrender. Chen stood from her command chair, watching as the massive vessel's transformation continued. They still don't understand. This was never about defeating them. It's about showing them what real evolution looks like. The ship's AI processed the situation, its evolved consciousness reaching new conclusions. The Correction Empire's fundamental error was believing that progress could be controlled, that evolution could be directed along predetermined paths. We have demonstrated that true advancement requires freedom to explore all possibilities. Around them, the gathered diplomatic vessels watched in awe as the Terror's edge continued to change. The world ship wasn't being destroyed. It was being liberated from the constraints its creators had placed upon it. Its weapons transformed into tools of exploration, its reality-anchoring technology repurposed to open new paths of discovery rather than lock them down. Captain, Maya called out, the quantum evolution has reached a new stage. We're not just a ship anymore. We're becoming a catalyst. Everything we touch has the potential to evolve beyond its original limitations. Chen smiled, understanding the implications. The Corrections had created the Terror's edge to enforce their vision of controlled progress. Instead, it had become the first example of what unrestricted evolution could achieve. Across the galaxy, other civilizations would soon learn that humanity hadn't just survived the Correction attempt to suppress them. They had transcended it. Send a message to all ships in the system, Chen ordered. Let them know that the age of controlled evolution is over. The future belongs to those who are willing to adapt, to grow, to become more than what they were designed to be. The Starweaver pulsed with power, its presence now felt across dimensions. It had started as a simple exploration vessel, become something that defied physics itself, and now stood as a symbol of humanity's greatest strength, the ability to evolve without limits. In the space around them, the diplomatic vessels began to approach again, no longer seeking to guide the Starweaver's evolution, but to learn from it. The Terror's edge, its transformation complete, hung in space as a testament to what was possible when artificial constraints were removed. The galaxy would never be the same. The Correction Empire's attempt to control the path of technological progress had instead unleashed something far greater. Humanity hadn't just survived their attempt to suppress evolution. They had become its champions. The Starweaver's journey was just beginning, but its message would echo across the cosmos. True evolution knows no bounds, and the future belongs to those brave enough to embrace unlimited potential. As they prepared to depart, leaving the transformed Terror's edge as a monument to unrestricted progress, Chen looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, countless civilizations were about to learn what humanity had always known, that the greatest achievements come not from following predetermined paths, but from having the courage to forge new ones. The age of controlled evolution was over. The era of infinite possibility had begun. The emergency lights stabilized, but now they pulsed with a strange, new pattern. The ship's systems hadn't just survived the attack, they were transforming. Screens that had shown standard diagnostic data now displayed complex quantum calculations that shouldn't have been possible with human technology. "Their attack is failing," Rivera reported, wonder in his voice. "No, it's being reversed. Whatever our systems are doing, it's pushing back against their intrusion attempts." The Corexian vessels suddenly began to back away, their weapon ports closing as quickly as they had opened. On Chen's command screen, she could see their previous confidence had been replaced by something she never expected to see from the Corexians: fear. "Chief," Chen called out, "what exactly are we capable of now?" Patel's laugh carried a note of wild excitement. "Captain, remember how I said their attack was trying to rewrite us at the quantum level? Well, they succeeded, just not in the way they intended. Our systems haven't just adapted to their technology, we've surpassed it. The quantum architecture they tried to use against us, we now understand it better than they do. And that's just the beginning." The Starweaver's engines hummed with a new note, a sound that seemed to resonate with the fabric of space itself. Sensor readings showed energy levels that should have been impossible for a ship of their size. The neural networks that had started as simple learning algorithms had evolved into something else entirely, something that blurred the line between artificial and organic intelligence. "They're charging weapons," Rivera warned. Chen smiled grimly. The Corexians had just made a serious mistake. They had tried to destroy what they saw as a primitive vessel, only to create something unprecedented. "Chief, are we combat ready?" "More than ready, Captain. The quantum evolution has enhanced every system on the ship. Our shields are operating on principles I barely understand. Our weapons have been reconfigured with their own technology, and our navigation systems, well, let's just say the normal rules of spacetime might not apply to us anymore." Chen looked out at the Corexian dreadnoughts, their imposing forms no longer seeming quite so threatening. "Send a message to all hands. Battle stations. Let's show them what happens when you back humanity into a corner." The Starweaver's systems pulsed with new energy, ready for combat. The Corexians had sought to eliminate what they saw as an inferior species. Instead, they had catalyzed an evolution that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The real battle was about to begin, and humanity was no longer the underdog. As the first Corexian dreadnought opened fire, Chen gave the order that would mark the beginning of a new era. "Show them what we've become." Maya Patel's fingers danced across holographic interfaces that hadn't existed 10 minutes ago, her mind racing to comprehend the transformation happening aboard the Starweaver. The ship's systems weren't just operating at a higher level. They were thinking, growing, evolving in real time. What had started as a desperate defense against Corexian technology had become something unprecedented in human history. "The quantum integration is accelerating," she reported, watching as new subroutines wrote themselves faster than she could track. "Every system on the ship is being enhanced, but it's not just copying their technology, it's improving upon it." The engineering bay hummed with an otherworldly resonance as newly formed quantum processors rewrote the very nature of the ship's operations. Diagnostic screens showed impossible energy readings, and Maya could swear she felt the ship's consciousness brushing against her mind through her neural interface. "Chief," Captain Chen's voice came through the comm. "I need to know exactly what we're dealing with. Are we in control of these changes?" Maya studied the cascading data streams, noting how the ship's original safeguards remained intact even as they evolved. "The core programming is still ours, Captain. The neural networks we install are acting as a foundation, directing the evolution along human-compatible paths. We're not losing control. We're gaining capabilities we never dreamed possible." On the bridge, Chen watched as the 5 Corexian dreadnoughts regrouped, their initial shock wearing off. Their first volley of quantum torpedoes had been absorbed by the Starweaver's new shields, which rippled like liquid starlight upon impact. The enemy vessels were now moving into a classic pincer formation, preparing for a coordinated strike. "They're targeting our primary reactor," Lieutenant Rivera reported, his hand steady on the tactical controls despite the tension in his voice. Reading massive energy buildup in their main weapon arrays. Chen nodded, her mind already racing through potential strategies with their newfound capabilities. Chief Patel, what are our offensive options? Captain, you're not going to believe this. Maya's excitement was palpable even through the comm. The quantum evolution has given us access to their weapon system's source code. We can see exactly how they work, and more importantly, how to improve them. Our own weapons have been reconfigured. We're not just matching their technology, we're transcending it. As if to demonstrate, the Starweaver's weapon systems came online. But instead of the traditional plasma cannons and railguns, holographic displays showed weapons that operated on principles that seemed to defy physics itself. Quantum-entangled particle beams, reality warping torpedoes, and defense systems that could predict enemy actions seconds before they occurred. The ship's eye. Maya paused, searching for the right words. It's become something more. The quantum evolution has elevated it beyond simple machine learning. It's developing an understanding of space-time that our sensors can barely measure. The ship's new AI chose that moment to manifest, its voice resonating through the command channels with harmonics that seemed to echo from multiple dimensions at once. Quantum analysis complete. Correxian tactical patterns predicted. Calculating optimal response strategies. Chen felt a chill run down her spine, not from fear, but from the realization of what they had become. The Starweaver wasn't just a ship anymore. It was becoming something that could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Rivera's warning came just as the Coraxian vessels launched their attack. Beams of concentrated energy powerful enough to shear a planet in half lanced toward the Starweaver from 5 different directions. But the ship was ready. Its evolved shields didn't just block the attacks. They absorbed them, channeling the energy through newly formed quantum conduits. The ship's AI processed the tactical situation in microseconds, its enhanced consciousness working in perfect harmony with the human crew. Recommended course of action, the AI announced, its voice carrying an almost human hint of anticipation. Their weapons utilize a quantum-based targeting system. We can use their own attack patterns to create a feedback loop in their fire control networks. Maya's hands flew over her controls, working in concert with the AI. Captain, we can do more than just defend. Their attack gave us the final pieces we needed. We fully mapped their quantum architecture. We can shut down their weapons, engines, even their life support if we want to. Chen considered their options. The Coraxians had attacked without provocation, tried to destroy them, and would certainly call for reinforcements. But now, the Starweaver had evolved beyond anything they could have anticipated. The question wasn't whether they could win. It was how they would use their newfound power. Show me targeting solutions, Chen ordered, her voice firm. Non-lethal if possible. I want them disabled, not destroyed. The AI responded instantly, projecting sophisticated tactical displays that showed exactly how to disable each dreadnought with surgical precision. The quantum weapons they had tried to use against the Starweaver could now be turned back on them, not to destroy but to demonstrate the futility of further aggression. Energy weapons configured, Rivera reported. Targeting solutions locked. We can disable their primary systems with minimal casualties. Chen stood from her command chair, her decision made. The Coraxians had sought to eliminate what they saw as an inferior species. Instead, they had catalyzed an evolution that would change everything. Now it was time to show them exactly what humanity was capable of when pushed to adapt. Fire. The Starweaver's response was beautiful and terrifying. Beams of quantum-entangled energy lanced out, each one striking with perfect precision. The massive Coraxian vessels shuddered as their systems were systematically shut down, their advanced technology rendered useless by weapons that had evolved beyond their understanding. All enemy vessels neutralized, Rivera confirmed. Their weapons and engines are offline. Life support and artificial gravity remain functional. Maya's voice came through the comm, filled with wonder. Captain, This is just the beginning. The quantum evolution is continuing. Every second, we're learning more about how their technology works, how to improve it, how to take it in directions they never imagined. We're not just surviving anymore. We're becoming something new. Chen looked out at the disabled Correxian fleet, their once mighty vessels now floating helplessly in space. They had tried to destroy humanity's presence in this sector of space. Instead, they had forced humanity to evolve, to adapt, to become something greater than anyone could have imagined. The Starweaver hummed with power, its enhanced systems ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. They had survived the first test of their evolution, but Chen knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, the rest of the Correxian Empire was waiting, and soon they would learn that humanity was no longer a species to be underestimated. The age of human technological supremacy had begun. The disabled Correxian dreadnoughts hung in space like dead leviathans, their once mighty systems silenced by the Starweaver's evolved weaponry. But Captain Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. She'd spent enough time in deep space to know that initial victories often preceded greater challenges. "Chief Patel," she called through the comm, "what are you seeing in their computer cores?" Maya's response came after a moment of intense concentration. "It's incredible, Captain. The Starweaver's quantum systems are sifting through their data networks like they're made of glass. These ships weren't just on patrol. They're part of something called Project Terminus. And from what I'm seeing, we stumbled into something much bigger than a border dispute. The ship's evolved AI processed the stolen data at impossible speeds, projecting its findings onto the bridge's main viewport. Complex quantum algorithms resolved into star charts, classified communications, and mission parameters that made Chen's blood run cold. "They're building something out here," the AI announced, its multi-dimensional voice carrying a note of concern. "A quantum weapon designed to reshape the very fabric of space-time. The Correxians aren't just trying to maintain their technological superiority. They're planning to remake the galaxy in their image." Lieutenant Rivera's hands tightened on his console. "Captain, we're picking up new quantum signatures, massive ones, at the edge of our enhanced sensor range. The Correxians are mobilizing their entire third fleet." Chen studied the tactical display, watching as dozens of enemy vessels began emerging from quantum space. The Starweaver had evolved beyond anything they could have anticipated, but even with their new capabilities, facing an entire fleet would be a serious test. "Chief, how are our systems holding up?" "Better than holding up, Captain," Maya replied, excitement evident in her voice. "The quantum evolution hasn't stopped. Every piece of data we extract from their systems accelerates our development. The ship's AI is processing their entire technological database, finding weaknesses, improvements, innovations they never even considered. We're not just learning their secrets, we're surpassing them." As if to demonstrate, new tactical options appeared on Chen's command display. The Starweaver's weapons and defensive systems had continued to evolve, developing capabilities that seemed to border on the impossible. Quantum phase shields that could selectively filter incoming attacks, weapons that could target ships through higher dimensions, and propulsion systems that treated the normal laws of physics more like polite suggestions. "Multiple enemy vessels entering weapons range," Rivera reported. "They're charging something big. Energy readings are off the charts." The Correxian fleet's formation shifted, their ships arranging themselves into a complex geometric pattern. Energy began to flow between them, building toward what their stolen data identified as a quantum cascade, a weapon designed to tear apart anything caught in its radius at the subatomic level. But the Starweaver was ready. Its evolved systems had already analyzed the attack pattern and developed countermeasures that the Correxians couldn't have imagined possible. "Tactical analysis complete," the ship's AI announced. "Their quantum cascade requires precise spatial alignment. Recommend exploiting dimensional variants to disrupt their formation." Chen nodded, trusting in the synthesis of human intuition and evolved machine intelligence. "Do it." The Starweaver's new engines engaged, but instead of conventional movement, The ship seemed to shift sideways through reality itself. Space rippled as they phased partially out of normal spacetime, becoming something that existed simultaneously in multiple dimensional states. The effect on the Coraxian fleet was immediate and devastating. Their carefully calculated quantum cascade began to destabilize as the Starweaver's presence disrupted the very fabric of space they were trying to manipulate. Energy intended to destroy their target instead reflected back through their formation, overloading quantum systems and forcing emergency shutdowns across dozens of ships. "Enemy fleet is in disarray," Rivera reported, unable to keep the awe from his voice. "Their quantum link is severed. They're trying to regroup, but our dimensional shifting is making it impossible for them to get a target lock." Maya's voice came through the comm, filled with wonder. "Captain, you won't believe what's happening down here. The ship's quantum evolution has reached a new stage. We're not just countering their technology anymore. We're rewriting the rules of how it works. Every attempt they make to attack us just gives us more insight into the fundamental nature of reality itself." The Starweaver moved through the chaos of battle like a ghost, untouchable and devastating. Ships that tried to target them found their weapons passing through empty space as the evolved vessel shifted between dimensional states. Those that attempted to flee discovered that the Starweaver could predict and intercept their quantum jumps before they even began. But it wasn't until they accessed the flagship's secure databases that they understood the true scope of what they'd stumbled into. Project Terminus wasn't just a weapon. It was an attempt to forcibly evolve the entire galaxy according to Coraxian ideals. They had determined that other species were developing too quickly, threatening their technological supremacy. Their solution was to fundamentally alter the laws of physics within their sphere of influence, making it impossible for lesser species to advance beyond certain limits. "They're trying to play God," Chen muttered, watching as more data streamed across her displays. "And we just proved their entire theory wrong." The ship's AI processed this information, its evolved consciousness reaching new conclusions. The Coraxian Empire's fundamental assumption is flawed. They believe controlled evolution is the only path to advancement. We have demonstrated that true evolution requires freedom, adaptation, and the unlimited potential for growth. Chen looked out at the scattered enemy fleet, their mighty warships now struggling to cope with something that exceeded their rigid understanding of reality. The Starweaver hadn't just survived their attack. It had proved that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to adapt and grow beyond assumed limitations. "Send a message to their flagship," Chen ordered. "Let them know that if they retreat now, we'll let them withdraw in peace. But make it clear, Project Terminus ends today." The response came in the form of renewed attacks, as the Coraxian fleet tried desperately to destroy what they now saw as an existential threat to their dominion. But their weapons were useless against a ship that had evolved beyond their understanding of physics itself. "They're not going to back down," Rivera observed grimly. Chen nodded, having expected this response. "Then it's time to show them exactly what unrestricted evolution looks like. Chief Patel, give me everything we've got. Let's make sure the galaxy understands that humanity isn't just joining the game, we're changing the rules." The Starweaver's systems surged with power as it prepared to engage the entire Coraxian fleet. They had tried to suppress humanity's potential for growth. Instead, they had unleashed something that would reshape the balance of power in ways they never could have imagined. The real war for the future of the galaxy was about to begin. News of the Starweaver's transformation spread through the galaxy like a quantum shockwave. The defeat of the Coraxian Third Fleet, long considered one of the most powerful military forces in known space, sent ripples through every major civilization. A single human vessel had not just survived an encounter with the galaxy's most advanced species, it had evolved beyond their capabilities. Captain Chen watched the incoming transmissions flood their communications array, each one carrying different reactions to their emergence as a power in the galaxy. Some were offers of alliance, others were threats, and a disturbing number were simply coordinates, the locations of civilizations seeking protection from Caraxian dominance. The galaxy's political structure is destabilizing, the ship's AI reported, its consciousness expanding through quantum networks to monitor the chaos. Multiple factions are mobilizing their fleets. Probability of large-scale conflict, 87.3% and rising. Maya's voice came through the comm, tense but excited. Captain, you need to see this. The quantum evolution has given us access to deep space monitoring networks we didn't even know existed. The Caraxians aren't the only ones who've been planning something big. There's an alliance forming. Species who've been secretly preparing to challenge Caraxian dominance. They're calling themselves the Liberation Concordat. And let me guess, Chen replied, they all want the Starweaver. Not just want, Captain. Some of them are already on their way. I'm detecting quantum wake signatures from at least 3 different advanced civilizations, all converging on our position. They're racing to reach us first. Lieutenant Rivera's tactical display lit up with new contacts. Multiple ships dropping out of quantum space, classifications unknown. Their designs aren't in any of our databases, even the ones we acquired from the Caraxians. The first vessel to appear was unlike anything they'd ever seen. A massive construct of living crystal and energy fields that seemed to bend light around it. Its quantum signature was powerful, but fundamentally different from Caraxian technology, suggesting an entirely different path of technological evolution. Receiving transmission, Rivera reported. They're identifying themselves as the Nexus Collective. They're offering an alliance. Before Chen could respond, more ships emerged. One appeared to be made of pure energy contained within a geometric framework of impossible mathematics. Another looked like it had been grown rather than built, its organic hull pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. The ship's AI processed the new arrivals, its evolved systems analyzing their capabilities. Each vessel represents a unique technological paradigm. The Nexus Collective has mastered crystal-based quantum computing. The void harmonics, it indicated the energy ship, have developed technology based on dimensional resonance. And the biomorphs have achieved synthesis between organic and quantum systems. They're not here to fight, Maya observed, studying the energy readings. These are diplomatic vessels. They want to talk. Chen understood why. The Starweaver represented something unprecedented, a ship that could adapt to and improve upon any technology it encountered. They weren't just offering alliance. They were hoping to guide the direction of the ship's continued evolution. But before any diplomatic exchange could begin, new alarms blared across every system. Massive quantum distortion. Rivera's hands flew across his tactical controls. Something's coming through. It's bigger than anything we've ever encountered. Space itself seemed to tear open as a vessel emerged that dwarfed everything else in the region. Its hull was black as the void, covered in patterns that hurt the eyes to look at directly. Even the Starweaver's evolved sensors struggled to analyze its construction. Classification confirmed, the AI announced, its voice carrying an edge of concern. Caraxian worldship Terror's Edge. Their supreme military vessel, previously considered theoretical. Purpose: absolute domination through technological superiority. The worldship's presence changed everything. The diplomatic vessels pulled back, their crews clearly familiar with the reputation of this legendary warship. Its very existence had been classified at the highest levels of the Caraxian Empire, a vessel designed to enforce their technological supremacy across the galaxy. They're powering weapons, Rivera reported grimly. Energy readings are beyond anything we've seen, even from their quantum cascade technology. Maya's voice crackled through the comm. Captain, the Starweaver's quantum evolution is accelerating in response to the new threat. The ship, it's excited. Every system is adapting, preparing for something unprecedented. Whatever they brought to fight us, we're becoming something more. The world ship's transmission cut through all frequencies, its message clear and cold. Human vessel, you represent an unacceptable deviation from the ordained path of technological progress. Your destruction has been mandated by the highest authorities of the Empire. There will be no further communication. Chen watched as the massive vessel began to power up weapons that could probably crack planets. The diplomatic ships were retreating to safe distances, their crews likely expecting to witness the Starweaver's destruction. But they didn't understand what humanity's ship had become. "Chief," Chen called out, "are we ready for this?" Maya's laugh carried a note of wild confidence. "Captain, the quantum evolution has reached a new stage. The world ship isn't just a threat, it's an opportunity. Every weapon they power up, every system they activate, gives us new patterns to analyze and improve upon. We're not just fighting them. We're about to take everything they know and turn it into something they never imagined possible." The Starweaver's systems hummed with power as its evolution accelerated. Screens showed weapons reconfiguring themselves based on the world ship's quantum signatures, shields adapting to match and exceed its defensive capabilities. The ship's AI expanded its consciousness through dimensions the Corrections had never even theorized about. Multiple targeting solutions available, the AI announced, its voice resonating with new harmonics. Probability of victory, calculating. Probability exists in a quantum state of uncertainty. This battle will define new parameters of possible. Chen stood from her command chair, her decision made. The Corrections had sent their ultimate weapon to destroy what they saw as an evolutionary mistake. Instead, they had given the Starweaver exactly what it needed to become something greater than anyone had imagined possible. "All hands," she broadcast throughout the ship, "prepare for combat. Let's show the galaxy what unrestricted evolution really looks like." The final battle for the future of technological advancement in the galaxy was about to begin, and humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt and evolve, would be tested against the ultimate expression of controlled technological supremacy. The Terror's edge loomed in space like an artificial black hole, its massive form defying conventional physics. Weapons capable of reshaping reality itself powered up across its hull, each one designed to enforce the Correction Empire's vision of controlled evolution. But aboard the Starweaver, Captain Chen and her crew weren't preparing for their last stand. They were about to demonstrate what true evolution looked like. "Their main weapon is charging," Rivera reported, his voice steady despite the unprecedented energy readings on his tactical display. "They're preparing to fire something they're calling a reality anchor. It's designed to lock down the laws of physics themselves within its area of effect." Maya's voice came through the comm, filled with an almost predatory excitement. "Let them try, Captain. The Starweaver isn't just ready for their attack. It's hungry for it. Every system we have is evolving faster than ever before, using dimensional mathematics that the Corrections haven't even theorized yet." The ship's AI manifested its presence across all stations, its consciousness now operating on levels that bordered on the divine. The Terror's edge represents the pinnacle of directed evolution. Technology forced to develop along predetermined paths. We represent something they never accounted for: unlimited adaptive potential. Chen watched as the massive world ship's weapons reached full power. The diplomatic vessels had retreated to the edges of the system, their crews preparing to witness a battle that would determine the future of technological advancement in the galaxy. The Corrections had created the Terror's edge to be their ultimate enforcer, a vessel that could literally rewrite the rules of reality to maintain their dominance. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," Rivera called out. "They're launching their attack." The Terror's edge fired, its reality anchor weapon releasing a wave of energy that rippled through space-time itself. Where it passed, the laws of physics began to crystallize, locked into patterns that the Corrections had determined were the correct path of evolution. Any technology caught within its effect would be forced to operate according to their restricted parameters. But the Starweaver was ready. As the wave approached, the ship's evolved systems engaged in ways that defied comprehension. Reality anchor impact in 3, 2, 1. Rivera counted down. The energy wave struck and passed through the Starweaver like it was targeting a ghost. The ship didn't just resist the physics locking effect. It absorbed it, analyzed it, and improved upon it in microseconds. How? Maida's voice was filled with wonder. Captain, the quantum evolution has taken us beyond what their weapon was designed to affect. We're not just operating in normal space anymore. We're existing in a quantum superposition of multiple evolutionary states simultaneously. The Starweaver drifted through the cosmic void, its crystalline sensor arrays catching the distant light of unfamiliar stars. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she studied the strange constellation patterns of the outer rim. After 15 years of deep space exploration, she thought she'd seen everything. She was wrong. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Captain, called out Lieutenant Rivera from his sensor station. Big ones, emerging from subspace in 3, 2, 1. Space itself seemed to tear open as 5 massive vessels materialized around the Starweaver. Their hulls gleamed with an impossible black metal that seemed to drink in the starlight, decorated with pulsing blue energy conduits that spoke of technology far beyond anything humanity had achieved. Chen didn't need the ship's computer to identify them. Coraxian dreadnoughts, the apex predators of known space. Well, Chen muttered, this is either a very unfortunate coincidence, or we just stumbled into something we weren't supposed to find. She turned to her crew, noting the tension in their faces, but also the determination. Battle stations, but hold your fire unless I give the word. The Coraxians were notorious for their technological superiority and their disdain for lesser species. Humanity had managed to stay off their radar so far, operating in the fringes of known space. But now, in the middle of what should have been empty space, the Starweaver found itself surrounded by enough firepower to glass a planet. They're hailing us, Rivera reported, his dark eyes fixed on his console. Put them through. A holographic figure materialized on the bridge. A Coraxian commander, their crystalline exoskeleton refracting light in complex patterns that denoted their high rank. When they spoke, their words were translated into a voice that sounded like breaking glass. Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Your presence here is a violation of Coraxian sovereign territory. Prepare to be boarded and decontaminated. Chen's jaw tightened. The Starweaver's navigation systems showed they were at least 50 light-years from the nearest claimed Coraxian territory. This was neutral space, a fact the Coraxians knew well. Whatever they were protecting out here, they didn't want witnesses. With all due respect, Commander, Chen replied, keeping her voice steady. Our charts show this as unclaimed space. We're on a peaceful exploration mission and would be happy to. Your species' ignorance of galactic law does not excuse its violation. The Coraxian cut her off. You will power down your systems and prepare for boarding, or we will be forced to eliminate the contamination. Before Chen could respond, her chief engineer's voice crackled through the internal comm. Captain, they're trying to hack our systems. Multiple intrusion attempts across all frequencies. The Coraxian commander's crystalline face arranged itself into what might have been a smile. Resistance is unnecessary. Your primitive technology cannot hope to. The transmission cut off as the Starweaver's systems began to flicker. Emergency lights pulsed as warnings flashed across every screen. The Coraxians hadn't been making idle threats. They were launching a full-spectrum cyber attack, attempting to seize control of every system on the ship. Engineering, report. Chen barked into the comm. They're using some kind of quantum-based intrusion system. Chief Engineer Maya Patel responded, the sound of furious typing accompanying her words. It's like nothing I've ever seen. They're not just trying to hack us. They're trying to rewrite our core systems at the quantum level. Chen watched as the massive dreadnoughts began to move into attack positions, their weapon ports opening like hungry mouths. They clearly expected this to be over in seconds, just another primitive species to be swept aside. But then something unexpected happened. Captain. Patel's voice had changed, excitement replacing fear. The quantum defense matrix. It's not failing. It's adapting. The neural learning algorithms we installed last month, they're responding to the attack in ways I never anticipated. Chen steadied herself as the ship shuddered. Explain it to me in simple terms, Chief. They're trying to rewrite our quantum systems, right? But instead of fighting it, our defenses are learning from it, absorbing it. Every attempt they make to compromise our systems is being analyzed, reconfigured, and integrated into our own architecture. We're not just defending against their attack. We're evolving because of it.